Hey, Thor.
I can hear you.
I can hear you. How are you?
Okay. All right. Something's wrong with my system here. Every time I go to use it, it just doesn't work for me. But you guys can hear me now, right?
We can. Yep. There's been some
All right.
updates to Discord lately. So I'm Cedar. This is Thor, and we are doing Lunch and Learn. Trying to do it every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, and it's a charting session based on we're calling it 50 plus years, 30 plus for Thor, and 20 plus for me. I'm going to call it what mine is. Mine's 22 in February. Thor doesn't like his round number. So anyway, we have a thread underneath Market Talk called Tuesday Lunch and Learn, or Lunch and Learn with Thor and Cedar, where if you've got any charts you'd like us to review, we look at them a little different from the day trading that you see a lot of times with our, just regular day trades between options and futures. And it gives you a little better idea, I think, of what we're looking at from the bigger picture as far as when we're, talking about, oh, this is a short, this is a long, that kind of thing, instead of just intraday. So if you'll go ahead and post some tickers in there. I know we have a couple from last week that we weren't able to make. And so following that, anything that is posted after will be next in line.
All right. So I guess we have KOG first, huh?
KOG. I'll let you kick that one off.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
Me either. Oh, that's why.
Actually, it's not coming up. I'm hoping it's the.
Is it Kroger?
See if this is the right one. I guess it is. Kongsberg Gruppen ASA.
Okay, no, that's something completely different. Hold on. Let me find my chart. So KOG. Yeah, pulls up Kroger
Yeah,
for
I don't
me.
get anything. I'm not getting anything coming up to.
Yeah, I don't get anything for the name of that ticker. So
Let's go to SALM then, just so we don't waste time.
And
here.
I know Drasimi is in Europe somewhere. I'm trying to think where he is. So it may not be a ticker that we can pull up. I'm not sure. And they're both ASA. So yeah. So SPY is the next one from Player of the Game, and that might be relevant just where we are trading right now.
Yeah, I just pulled up. Are you looking at Salem Media Group?
Did it pull up?
Yeah, I got it. I'm looking at it now. I like it. Cheap. Problem with these penny stocks like this is they, I mean, they look like a perfect chart, and then just nothing happens with them. I mean, I'm looking at it at above 34. It looks great, but there's no volume. So
I
like the chart.
I have Salamar, and my number here is 694.20. So we're looking at two different things.
Let me bring it up again. How come I'm not getting this?
These are both, I think they're both non-US tickers. So a little bit of a false start here.
See if it gives me a.
And I have charted this before. It's the only place I put these levels on are inside the Lunch and Learn. So I've definitely looked at this ticker before. I just don't know if that's the correct one. But I'm going to go ahead and
I'm not getting it.
SALM, Salamar.
I even put it into search and I can't get it.
Okay, I'll do a quick little review. So we are really testing highs, the 696.20. Just in case this is the correct ticker, 696.20. We have done a look above and fail so far on the monthly or on the weekly. And so we'd be looking at what this weekly closes. If we can close the weekly candle above the wick high from July 11th, 2022, then it could continue to break out to test all-time highs, which is 729.8. But this is a really hard place to enter long, and uncomfortable with shorts. There could be correction down to 673, and these are just based on the volume levels and previous level that I charted, 648.80. And you'll be able to see that in a video if you type in that ticker searching inside the Market Talk Lunch and Learn thread, it will pull up that previous video as far as just seeing what that charting was before. So
I did find it.
did you? Okay.
Is it, is the current price is 694.20?
Yes.
Yeah, I see it. To me, it's a short. I'm looking at a weekly on it,
Yep.
setting up to be pretty much perfect short right at 701, 700, right in there.
Because of the wick high on this week.
Yeah. I mean, the chart looks good for a short. I wouldn't look at it for a long unless it bumped above 700. Kind of held for a while, and to me, it'd probably have to tread sideways for a while to get any move past that. Just looking at what it did. And the other thing, if you look at that really long wick down on that, going back to, date was that, 9/25, 2022 on a weekly. It's almost as like a gap fill. I mean, there's no gap, but it looks like a gap fill. Let me go back and see if it is a,
So on the weekly, I have a large down candle from.
right, that's the
Okay.
one.
Okay. So down to
If you bring up,
351.
there is a gap fill there, but it's not, it's just kind of like a long drawn out downtrend over a few days. But to me, I mean, I'd watch this for a short all day long and see if it happens. If not, I mean, it's really gone up so far that I don't know how much farther it can go, even if it does get up past 700. And what was the reasoning for this huge drop? I mean, what changed from then till now to make it better? I don't know.
Well, this looks
It just made-
like short covering back up to a cost basis, from where people were short from the all-time highs, if you want a classic picture of what that is. But for me on this chart, I can't go short. So we very rarely completely disagree, but I'm a buy the dip on this. On a pullback, I do not feel comfortable with shorts at all, although I've never looked at trading it to see what liquidity is, number of shares traded per day, 10-day average volume, things like that.
Well, keep in mind that when I'm talking about a short, I'm not talking about long term either.
Yeah. Let me look at daily just for fun. So daily looks like a short as a back test to 649, but I just can't make myself do it. I would buy the 649 level as a long on a back test that successfully recaptured on a daily close, especially if it wicked down to 638 and recaptured 648.
Yeah, I definitely don't dispute that. I'm just looking at the chart right
Yeah.
now and what I think it's going to do
Totally.
now. And now I'm looking at it as a short.
All right, next one is SPY, so I'll let you take that first.
Which one is it? Oh, SPY.
SPY.
Oh, well, I've been kind of talking about this pretty much yesterday and today. For me, I mean, if I bring this up, I think that if we close, let me get this back to a daily. I think we're weak right now. And I think that if SPY doesn't get a back above tomorrow, let me line this up here. Hold on one second. If SPY doesn't get back above 509.25 tomorrow, just to touch it, I think we're going to fall. I think that yesterday when the price action with no volume was kind of setting the tone for what I thought was going to happen. In fact, I mentioned it yesterday that I thought we were going to see a red day today, and we did. And I think Chris Husky mentioned that if SPY gets under 500, it's definitely tilting back bearish, and that's the other thing I'm looking at because I think he's right. But the first thing I'm looking at right now is if we can get back and touch 509.25 tomorrow, which would be touching the trend line. If we don't, then it's clearing the trend line on the downside, and I think we see further failure. It did it once. Normally, it doesn't happen as far as these, what I'm talking about right now, but it did it back. It did it back on February 21. It failed. It didn't get passed through, and then it went right back up the next day on big volume and really jumped up to 507. So it's not always a sure thing, but it's a pretty sure thing that if it doesn't get back up or at least touch that trend line, it's probably going to fail. And that's what I'm looking at right now on SPY.
So what I put in, I actually have a range from 507.90 to 508.18 as far as the highest volume that we've traded until our volume point of control back down at 498. So if we lose this level, if we can't close today's daily above the 508.18, then I would be targeting 505.87, and then underneath that 501.22 and 498.03.
Yeah, it's looking, I mean, right now, SPY's looking kind of grim, but every time you think it's looking really bad, all of a sudden, boom, something happens and they come in and they just bring it back up. You can't understand it. I mean, really,
Yeah.
it baffles me what the market's done over the last 2 years. So no matter how long I've been playing the market, it still surprises me.
All right, let me post this chart and then we'll move on to the next. All right, so looks like UNH is next.
You gonna take that one, Cedar?
Yeah. Especially if I could actually type in the ticker properly, that would be amazing. All right. Out on the monthly, we've got a volume point of control since the end of, so let's, looks like October of 22, volume point of control is at 483.98. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that because that's our area of interest that we've lost this month in the March meandering we're having right now. And so then there's another volume node, almost the same height, almost the same amount of volume at 478.81. So we could actually just call that a range area. Below here, from a volume perspective, there's almost nothing, even though there's some candle structure. So I'm going to go out to candle structure and say, which I typically don't use unless I have no volume, and monthly gives me some confluence. So I'm seeing some wicks and bodies touching here at 469.40. This does look like a short to me. I'm looking at monthly, granted, but we are early in the month. And for me, it would be a very large short. And this would be something that I would look at taking a swing over probably several months, a longer dated contract. 395. I don't know if that's right. Let me tune in here just a little bit.
I was hoping you'd say that, Cedar.
395.11. Yeah, 395.11 is what I have for a downside target, and it's such an easy, I guess we could see some bouncing at 409.72. The wick stuff that's happening at 434.86 makes me pay attention to it, but there's so little volume down here. So when we're looking at areas of low volume on the volume profile, there, if you think about, if you haven't vacuumed your house all week, and it's like my house with 2 Pyrenees, and we're outside doing chores, and we do have outside shoes and inside shoes, but the dogs bring dirt in and you haven't vacuumed or swept all week, the floor is pretty dirty, it's going to take you longer to clean it up, it's kind of messy. Repairing the profile is the same thing as not having swept or done your chores a little bit longer than you should have let them be. And so it needs to get back down here and hang out and clean up this area of, it's just a poor volume area. We got to put some volume down in the low 400s, and yeah, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, I was hoping right when I looked at it and I drew a trend line and looked at the price action on the weekly, first thing I thought was, I hope she says, because that's exactly what I see in 3 seconds just looking at it. And I just posted the chart in here on what I'm looking at, and right now it's sitting right at a support, but it's under the trend line that I posted, and you can see that it could possibly stop around Oh, what happened? Ad should pop up on my screen here. Right here, it looks like a short. I mean, if it pauses right in here, and it stays here, I see it going to 460. And I'll post that chart next so you can see what I'm talking
And,
about.
and that is definitely candle structure based. Yep, I totally see that.
Yes,
So I really,
looking
I,
at
I
the
would be
candle.
super surprised to not see it go to 416.
I'm gonna post two back-to-back weekly charts where I showed my, where I think it needs to sit and where I think it can go next. So you can see what I'm looking at. You can see where I drew the trend line. You can see where I think it needs to hold, which is the top one, and where I think it could go next. And then all of Cedar's numbers that she posted, those are all in play after that. So yeah, we're both in agreement with it. It looks like a really nice short, actually.
Yeah. Okay, I'm posting this with a little bit of commentary in there also. Except I put the wrong ticker, UNG instead of UNH. Clearly typing is not my specialty.
You having trouble today, Cedar?
Apparently. Well, I typed it.
You gotta cut your nails.
I
was gonna
typed-
say, you
oh,
gotta
yeah,
cut
I
your
don't
nails,
have
but I
nails.
guarantee you're not the kind of woman that has long fingernails.
I do not have long fingers. You can't have horses and goats and chickens and chores and camping and stuff like that with long
And
fingernails.
hold on to,
Yeah.
just holding on to reins alone.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, there's no fingernails here. No, I typed spy as soy earlier, so that just tells you something. Like I type spy all day long. That's pretty funny. Okay, let's check out the next one.
HUM.
That one's your turn.
I
And
need
Vishy,
to-
thank
I
you
need
for
to put
posting those
this,
tickers
keep
because we like to have tickers to be able to review instead of just making stuff up. So thank
I'm
you.
gonna save that United Health Group. I like that. I might short that. Okay, what was the next one?
HUM.
HUM.
Humana. Oh, we're talking healthcare here is what he's looking at.
Oh, yeah,
This was a short.
another week. Yeah, I wouldn't touch it now. I don't like it now. Oh, you know, I already have it on the weekly. I mean, it could still go down more, but I just don't like it. It looks like it still looks like a short. It still looks weak, but it looks like you missed it. It's like chasing a short to me. I wouldn't even touch it.
We have lost the swing low from January 3rd, 2022 on the weekly, which is interesting. So this might be something to look at for what this weekly closes, because I mean, the short was definitely missed from when we lost the 200 moving average on the weekly back January 8th, 2024. So that was definitely, and that's where our volume is. Volume point of control is at 433.92. And so first take profit there. Prior to this, of course, I'm looking at volume that's already been put in, but 398.74. And it looks like there was a lot of candle interaction there that created some of this volume. Below that, 367.62 was the next area that I would have been looking at taking volume for, or taking profits on the short. We are in one of the lowest areas of volume right here that we could just hang out and grind back and forth. If we lose this, it's headed to 286.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking at, you know, I brought up I looked at the weekly and it's ugly.
Oh yeah.
And then I looked up, I brought up a monthly, and the monthly even gives you a clearer picture as far as where it should stop. You know, and it's right there. If it doesn't hold 338, between 338 and 341, Cedar's right. It's just, I mean, for me, I don't like it enough to try and do anything with it. But if I were to do something with it, I would look at those two numbers and short it.
So I put a range in there. There's a little bit of volume. It's not technically a high volume node, but a little bit of volume in there, 328.37 to 332.43. that if there were a very strong wick reversal on the weekly that recaptured this wick low of 347, I might be interested in a reversal kind of trade on it, depending on what the healthcare industry is doing.
Yeah, that's true too.
However,
I'm gonna put up a monthly chart.
I haven't looked at monthly. I only looked at weekly. Oh, monthly. Okay. Well,
Monthly makes it even simpler to look at. For me
I
anyways,
still would take
just-
if we wicked down and recaptured on the close of this month. So this is set yourself some alerts on some horizontal lines. A recapture, a close of March on the monthly above about 346, 7, 8, somewhere in that range. You kind of have to, make your own call as far as where those wicks are. I really like the bottom of the candle body 350. So I would set this, if I were looking to trade this, I would set this as a potential reversal. If at the end of April, we can close a candle body above 350 and targeting above there, the blue lines, which I put on the weekly, the 367, 399, and 433. But I can't,
Yeah,
uncomfortable shorting this one here. It's already moved a lot.
yeah, that's why I don't like chasing it, but it looks really weak. If you look at my chart, it's a monthly, it's a trend line, and where I think it needs to hold, and it's pretty self-explanatory, just looking at, what I posted and what I said.
I could blame my typing on my keyboard, but it's the same keyboard I use all the time, so I'm not sure what to say.
All right, next one is WDAY.
Is that Workday?
Yeah. We get off this monthly. Oh, wow. Wow, this thing's interesting. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I'm looking at I just brought up a daily, and I drew a trend line just underneath that gap up that was in December. And it hits right back to September of 2023. And it looks like this wants to get back to 250 or so. But it did stop on that. This one's kind of perplexing to me. Interesting, but kind of perplexing. Maybe 263, but that wick candle from today is interesting too if it holds. If that candle holds today, the one that we're looking at right this minute, it may have turned around here. Maybe. Just depends on. Do you see what volume is today on it, Cedar? I don't have it on this chart.
I'm looking at
system.
weekly right now, so I'm looking at the weekly volume profile. 272.64. It is where I would really like to see this weekly candle close. On a higher time frame, I've got a support trend line that first anchor is October 31st, 2022, which is a lot of tickers, obviously. Second is October 30th, 2023, which gives us a broadening formation on the weekly, which we have actually fulfilled pretty nicely over a 2-year period. So there is potential room down to the next volume area, 236. And then below that, 230.44. So I'll just drop a couple of these lines in here from the weekly. I guess I'd have to dig into this ticker and understand what caused this gap down, because I don't think we have earnings, or let's see if there's anything else in here that catches my eye. I want to flip over to the daily before I'm just dropping lines in, and then I want to compare daily.
Yeah, normally when you see like on a weekly and you see that gap down and then another gap down, it usually means that it's in trouble.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop for a little while. And that's what gets me, but it's sitting, right now at 265, it's kind of got some support.
Ooh, this daily candle though. Okay.
Yeah, it's looking at that daily candle. It's got that a the rejection there of the low, which that's why it's kind of interesting looking chart right now.
It would surprise me that we didn't get down to the 200 daily moving average, 243.70. Honestly, even though this daily is looking, I mean, this is obviously short covering. I don't think there's new initiative like long positions being built here. And that type of buying, when you hear me talk about that, doesn't stick usually very well. So for me, I would probably look, if this can get a little bit more traction up near 270, I would be looking at this as a short down to 243.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm thinking about, there's no reason for it. The
Yeah.
reason why it dropped is because the big boys got out. And why is another story. We have to look and see why. But there's no reason for them to get in now, not with these gap downs like this.
Yeah.
Unless the algo stepped in there at 263, 262. You know,
I can't
It's really-
I can't see anything that would make it 262 doesn't have a bounce point for me at all. There's nothing in here that gives me any happy, warm, fuzzy feelings. Except,
the only
I mean,
reason why I
that
say
daily
it is all,
candle looks really pretty,
do.
right? The daily candle does look really pretty, but all the chart structure in here is just, I mean, it really could be looking for a gap fill because you do have that gap from earnings, the previous earnings, back down into that 235-ish range. That would be I would
Yeah,
not.
that's why it's kind of perplexing to me. It just kind of, it's not really setting up well either way because it's kind of giving conflicting information as far as what it's doing. I guess there are people that are stepping in trying to keep it up.
Well,
But I
I think
don't see
that's
it
just
being-
shorts covering, honestly. I don't think that's
Okay.
trying to keep it up. I mean, they're the first buyers always in any position. It's the lowest risk is to be a short covering because you're exiting a position.
Yeah, you're probably right because you can see that it's the algos that are kicking in that
Yeah.
are short covering. And they did it right where that line is that I drew across, and they did it for a reason. The algos are set up to buy and sell on the same things that we're looking at.
And this one almost presents kind of a halfway between the first two charts we looked at, where we had the first one was like, oh, that's a short. Wait, yeah, of the healthcare. So United Health, oh, that's a short. Humana was, oh, this has already moved. This one is starting to bounce in where you'd expect and like a sell the pop kind of situation. I would be really surprised to see this over 275. Really surprised.
All right, Cedar, I don't have any more time today. I got 30 minutes like always.
Yep,
So,
my timer just went off too. So that's yep. So let me just peek. So the last one is snow. And I will post a chart on snow with the same basic outlook. I haven't looked at snow in a while, but I am not able to stay on voice. So I'll go ahead and catch that, and it'll be in the recording as well, and we'll go from there.
I'll look really quick, and I don't like it. I just brought up I don't like it. It's I mean it's ugly. What does snow do? Why are they getting beat up? I mean, I know what they do, but what happened here?
Yeah, what'd they do? 150 is your target on snow if you're looking for continuation on a short. Below the 200 daily moving average with hard selling today under 176, it's 150 and then 142.10. There's a quick one.
Yeah, wow, crazy. I agree 100%. I went to a really quick, I'm going to draw a quick trend line here and see if any of it lines up. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it looks like it still has to get down to one. You said 150?
Yeah, 150 and then 142.10.
Yep, that's what I have too. Okay, so no need for me to add. That's what I have is 150 first and right in the same area you had. Exactly. That's looking at a weekly trend line and support resistance. That's what I have. So yep. That's it.
Okay. All right. Thanks. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks guys for listening in. Appreciate it. And keep them coming.